Kick off with Gail from Sky.
Right, okay, injuries. Should we start with the big two first? Gabriel and Calafiori, where are we with these two? Are either of them going to be ready to go tomorrow?
There is a possibility with one of them to be available. He trained today and we will see tomorrow.
And with Calafiori, how cautious are you having to be, given he's not really been able to have a run of games?
We're just respecting the times that the medical department has set, and then we just monitor his evolution every single day. And we understand that he's not fully ready yet, but he's getting very close now.
And anyone else ruled out for tomorrow?
No, apart from the ones that they were already.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
The player, I guess, that benefited from that on Wednesday was Luis Marcielli, and you spoke a little bit about him after the game, but on reflection, what he did as an 18-year-old on the pitch, but also off it, speaking to everybody afterwards, was quite extraordinary. Give us a little bit more insight into him as a person as well as a player, and with all of that, does he deserve another crack tomorrow?
Well, he certainly deserves to be in contention to be selected because he performed and competed really well. As you mentioned, at his age, to show that maturity on the pitch is strange, and off the field is exactly the same. He's a person that continuously surprises all the staff with the kind of question that he's capable of asking. You know, that a lot of times tells you the intelligence of the person, and Miles is a really bright boy.
Yeah, you always hoped that it would go like that, but how reassuring was it just to see him flourish in that environment?
Well, it's always, you always take a chance. Nobody can guarantee you a performance. It doesn't matter the experience or the age, but he was surrounded by very senior players, very experienced players, and we believe that it was the right context, a context that he could succeed and help the team to perform to win the game, and he certainly did that.
We've talked a little bit over the last few weeks about creativity and finding that kind of little bit of sparkle, if you like. How pleased with you with your midfield trio on Wednesday, Odegaard, Marino and Rice, and how much did you envisage that those three would actually be your midfield trio? I mean, it was the first time you got to use them all together. Did you like the balance? Did you like what you see?
There have been recently a lot of new units. Certainly that was one. That's one that obviously we have planned and discussed, and I think they can play so well together. And they did a really good job. They will play again together for sure in the near future, and I think they complement each other really, really well.
Yeah, in terms of complementing each other, can you just explain a little bit more?
Well, three very intelligent and football brains. Three players that they like to play for others, especially. And then you have a lot. You have players that can hold the ball in tight spaces. They can run with the ball. You have threat in the box. You have creativity in tight spaces. You have a lot of the things that you want. And the defensive part as well. They have two players that are more holding midfielders. Martin, that is exceptional in his timings and aggression in the high press. So, very good.
I want to ask you about murals now.
Okay.
Peace coach has got his own mural.
Yeah, I just heard. I didn't know that. So happy. He fully deserves it the same as many other staff and coaches. So it's great that the attention is not just on the players or sometimes the manager. You know that our supporters can think that way, and someone can be so creative, and it makes people value and be recognized. And I think it's something really good.
Has he seen it yet? He obviously hasn't seen it. Is he going to go?
You showed him, yeah?
Have a look past it.
Yeah.
Do you like it?
He would say, "Oh, well, he would love it."
Finally, for me, it's going to be a little bit of a special day tomorrow, where Arsenal and Everton are both going to pay tribute to Kevin Campbell. He meant a lot to a lot of people at both clubs, and I wondered how well you got to know him, or your thoughts, or whether that was just you didn't
very
quite
little.
cross paths, did
No,
you?
no.
But you probably heard the stories and you understand how special he was to a lot of people here.
I do, and you can tell the way people talk and the tone and the face that they put when they talk about him, and the club is done really well again to make that day feel very special for all the people that had the chance to get to know him and recognize who he was, especially as a person. So it will be a special day.
Thanks, and we'll go to Niv from the Premier League.
Hi, Mikel. Good afternoon. Since the beginning of last season, only Harry Kane, Vinny Jr. and Antoine Griezmann have been involved in more Champions League goals than Bukayo Saka. We knew how great he is domestically, but you feel now Bukayo is getting more credit, more recognition across the continent as one of the best in Europe. Yeah,
well, first of all, we have to win the competition. We certainly are now, and players and everybody has to step up to that level. And it's remarkable what he's doing consistently every 3 days in different competitions at this level. Is really good, and he will continue to do that for sure.
Nearly 20 years ago, Everton was the club that gave you your first chance in English football. It's not the first time you will manage against them, but still, what's the biggest value you learned from your time at Goodison Park?
Well, the human quality, and then how deep is the feeling towards the club. And as we all know, the club has been through very different stages through his history, and recently they have a really tough one. But I love the way they get all together, they go through the storms. The way they face it is a great example, again, was shown the coaching staff and the players done in recent years with all the instability around the club. So hopefully they can find a path now and a new stadium with new ownership as well, and kick on and start more enjoyable times, hopefully.
Because obviously the Merseyside RBA was postponed. They had significantly more time than you to recover. You play in the Champions League, you play in the league as well. Could that be a factor this weekend? Because we know December, the games are coming thick and fast.
That's the context. We are so used to playing every 3 days. The boys train today, really fire up, really looking forward to the game, and understanding that it's always a really tough opponent, and we're going to have to be really good to beat them.
Ian, TalkSport.
Hi, Mikel. How are you?
Hi. Good.
He's only young, but would you say that right now Bukayo Saka is world class?
I don't know. I don't like putting labels to players. You know, he's exceptional. He's exceptional what he does. He's doing it very consistently. Now we need to go to the next step and win things collectively as well, probably to get that label, and that's the aim.
Like Kevin Campbell, though, he is a product of Haaland, and I guess tomorrow shows when Arsenal and Everton pay tribute to Kevin Campbell that actually there is a much wider and much bigger thing outside of football. We all love football, but there are more important things in football.
Yeah, for sure. The issue that we all have normally is that we don't recognize that it's something really, really impactful and difficult happens in our lives. But we are surrounded now, unfortunately, with a lot of issues. All our families, relatives, everybody is going through a lot of stuff that before it wasn't that common. So perspective is always good.
How do you keep perspective? Because obviously last time, or one of the last times I was here, you were speaking about what the tragedy that was happening in Valencia, in your homeland. There are tragedies many times that football remembers. How do you keep perspective as well as keeping your focus on being a football manager?
First of all, understanding and being grateful of what we have daily. You know, where we are. First of all, health is the most important thing. I have 3 kids, I have a wife, I have family, and the only thing that I ask and I just pray for is for everybody to be healthy. Without that, we have nothing else. And then again, what we are brought to this world to do, and make sure we enjoy it, because there are going to be moments that, unfortunately, the world is going to crash, and we're going to have to go through that.
Finally, we've heard today about Everton's takeover. The club should be more stable, and perhaps more like the club that you did play for many years ago, rather than the one that seems to have gone from one crisis to another, if crisis is indeed the right word.
Yeah, but they haven't lost their roots, you know, and as I said, that fighting spirit, that togetherness, that love for the club in regards, whatever happens, they are there, you know, and that's not easy, and that makes them really, really special. Hopefully that will help them, give them stability. The project with the new stadium, it's unbelievable as well, so a lot to be excited about.
Simon, Evening Standard.
Mikel, we asked you a lot about Bukayo and that right side. How important is it for you that you have that balance in the team, and that we're sat here asking you about Martinelli and Trossard, that you have that threat from both sides of the pitch?
Well, we certainly have that, but obviously it's never going to be the same because they have different qualities, and we need to understand that we have many other threats in our left side, and over the years we've done it, and we wouldn't be scoring the amount of goals that we have scored in the last 2 seasons. So I'm really pleased with that. Different is good. It doesn't have to be symmetric. Asymmetries in football are great and very difficult to combat, and we continue to go, trying to improve.
Has it been a bit difficult there, obviously, because injuries at left back, changed who's played the left number 8, and how important do you think Mikel Arteta could be in terms of unlocking that left side when he's fully fit?
Yeah, that's something obviously that we have a lot of instability in recent years, so finding that stability, those relationships, that time together, putting players that they can connect with each other and find those chemistries is very important, and it's true that we have never had the consistency, especially because of availability in the left and in the right.
Alex, BBC.
Hi, Mikel. We've heard that Bukayo Saka's output is up there with some of the best forwards in Europe, so how do you keep challenging him, or how do you keep him motivated?
Well, because there's still so much to do, there's everything to win, still. So that's the motivation, the fact that he wants to be better every single day, that he wants to keep pushing this football club, this team to a higher level, and that's him. He doesn't need. If I have to motivate him, that's a problem. That's within him.
Do you ever show him other forwards' output and say this is what you can get to?
Yeah, we always set targets, but understanding how we're going to after reach those targets. That's an idea to score 30 goals or 40 is fine. It's how we're going to do it, and then how we're going to create a plan to try to develop the player, to give him the best possible chance to after make sure that he's able to do that.
Kaya, Football London.
This fixture last season was obviously the final game of the season. You said in the past that your team went for a dinner that night, and I think the players came over to you and were saying, we want to go again straight away, we want to win the league next season straight away. I wonder if you could tell us a bit more about that night, the emotions around the team, and how everyone was feeling.
Well, it was obviously mixed emotions. Very sad because we had the hope that we could do it the last day of the season. It has happened many times in this league. We weren't able to do it, and at the same time pride and fire in the belly and motivation to understand that we are there, that we are good enough to do it, and that we have to push it again because we really want it.
Did that come from the players,
Yeah.
that mindset? Which players specifically were coming over to you?
I don't like to explain that, but a few players came straight away with that kind of talk.
Okay, Jordan, Athletic.
Mikel, when we sit here and ask about Bukayo reaching Ronaldo, Messi numbers, you say you've got a plan and you sit and think about how that'll evolve over the next few years. When you look at those two players, they hit those numbers once they moved inside the pitch. We see sometimes Bukayo sometimes get crowded out with teams, 2 or 3 players around him. Do you envisage over the next few years that he will move like Messi or Ronaldo in a central position?
Yeah, I think that would depend a lot on the qualities and the players who are around him. For somebody to be inside instead of outside, somebody has to be outside. And that player and that fullback and that attacking midfielder, that 9, has to allow the space to do that. But I'm certainly very open to keep evolving players. Sometimes it's the role, sometimes it's the position on the pitch. And sometimes there are other things that we can do, so he spends more time in these positions, because when the ball is firing the opposite side, I think it's our choice what we want him. But we're certainly thinking about these kind of things, yeah.
It was interesting, Jorginho said the other day in an interview that you don't specifically tell Martinelli and Saka to stay out wide, they sort of just do it naturally. As they're getting older, are you leaving it up to Bukayo to figure the game out for himself and to go where he feels he can affect it?
When the understanding of the game and the spaces and the timing that they move in relation to each other is strong, I think the freedom has to increase, because the decision making is going to improve because they understand it better. So that will create uncertainty to the position, and at the moment they're in that stage that they have much more freedom than in the past.
And just a similar question on Gabriel. Obviously Simon was talking about the balance of the team. Maybe the last couple of years he's not quite kicked on as people would have expected in terms of his numbers. Do you see him potentially becoming a number 9 in the long term? I know he's young just now. Do you see him potentially moving centrally as well?
Who you say, Gabriel?
Gabriel Martinelli.
Well, he's played a few times. I think Gavi's so good, when he's got the line on his back and he's facing forward, he's got the goal in diagonal. that I haven't thought too much about that, and he's so comfortable playing that, especially on the left side. So I think I see other evolutions more than this one.
Okay, last couple in the live section. We'll go to James from ESPN.
Hi, Mikel. I know you've got a lot of games before January. There's only a couple of weeks till the window opens, and you don't have a sporting director at the moment. Are you confident that won't be a problem for whatever business you want to do in January?
Yeah. Well, we have one. Jason Ato is our sporting director, interim sporting director, and he's got the full capacity right now, full support, the support of the football club, and is doing really well with his team. And then the process is open, obviously, as you know, and the club, with the support of all of us and intervention of all of us, would decide who they think is the best person to move us forward.
Is there any progress in that search?
Yeah, I'm sure there is progress, yeah.
Do you think in general January will be a busy window?
I don't never expect January to be super busy, but we have to wait and see where we are, you know. Some surprises can come, we are prepared for that, some opportunities as well, and we'll have to see. Hopefully the squad and the availability of the squad is going to be better in a few weeks. I will have to wait and see.
And just finally for me, Miles Lewis-Skelly obviously impressed in midweek. I know as a club you're keen to promote the academy, and do you feel with him and with Ethan obviously playing more minutes now, that pathway is a bit clearer now for those youth team age groups to be able to get into the first team?
Yeah, well, I mean, in terms of the intention and what we want is clear. First of all, we want to look in the academy. And then we have to understand if what we need is actually there in that moment, because sometimes the age groups and what happens, the timing, it doesn't always work. But we are extremely happy with the way the academy is working and to see that talent raising. And now we have to create a space as well ourselves in the squad for those kids to have the right amount of time and the role that they deserve in the squad.
Okay, Phil from PA at the back.
Mikel, I was going to ask about the sporting director too. Did you envisage that it will be resolved before the summer, or do you think it will be sorted this season?
Timing-wise, it's difficult to understand, and I'm not running that process, so it's more a question for the club to respond.
Is it something you'd like to see settled soon, sooner rather than later?
Yeah, but that we are convinced that we have the right person with the right team that can work with a lot of people that are doing extremely a great work at the moment, and that someone is going to help us to go to the next level, and we might have it internally.
Okay, that finishes the live section. We'll now go on to 10:30 tonight. We kick off with Sam from Telegraph.
Hi.
So if you don't mind, a slightly broad, wide question, but
Okay.
I know you're focused on the here and now winning matches, but what thoughts do you have about how football, as it's played, will evolve over the next sort of 5 to 10 years, and what changes we might see tactically and stuff? Please have some thoughts.
Yeah. I think it's going to be very constrained and very related to new regulations and new rules.